of found myself between a rock and a hard place today at work. You see, I personally don't like to bring work home with me. You know, bring it home in the sense that once the day is over and I go home, I tend not to worry about anything that's happening up here. I punch out, I leave my work troubles at work, and I head home. But today was a little different for me. Also,
That's Control, Wayside 71.
I'd like to stress that
Wayside 71.
I am not the kind of person who wants this
National
to
Wayside
let this
71,
job
blue
define
light,
me.
white
I've said that many a times. The job don't define me. I define the job. So a lot of times I don't like to talk about things that happen at work because I don't want that to be the primary focus of these videos. But today really kind of speaks to the heart of who I think I am as a person. So I want to mention it. Today about 5:30, I came across an elderly young lady. I say elderly young lady. It's like, wow, what a oxymoron that is. So this woman. She's in her 60s, and she's trying to get her ride home. She's got a cell phone, but the screen is terribly broken, and she can't read or write, so she doesn't necessarily know how to work it. According to her, she spent over $270 on what looks to me to be like the iPhone 2. Like, I'm not an Apple product expert, but it's an older phone. So somebody gypped her into buying this phone so she could have a phone. And she's complaining to me about how she's being mistreated at the hospital. How, I'll spare you the stories, but suffice it to say that I don't feel as though the hospital was mistreating her. I feel as though she wanted special treatment. She thought because she was older, she was entitled to something. Like, she was in there for a total of 5 days, and she said not once did somebody give her a bath. It's like, that's not what they're there for. You're an able-bodied person. You can do that yourself. That kind of thing. So she's just trying to get home. She doesn't know how to call these people and tell them, but she was told to stay here at the station and then somebody would come and pick her up. Well, guess what? That person never came. So that was at 5:30, and normally whenever drama pops off at work or something that I think will be entertaining, I call Asia and I let her listen because something, there's always some wackiness going on. But it ceased to be wacky when I looked up, and this woman had been out here for some hours. So now it's like 9 o'clock, 9-ish, and I go to her, ready to put her off the station. Like, hey, you can't be here. But she's in a bad way. She's really upset. So I personally take this list of numbers that she has, and I'm calling around saying, hey, it's Officer Harris, Regional Transit. This lady's looking for you. Can somebody come and pick her up? No answer with any of the numbers. She's got a number to a social worker who's trying to help her get some temporary housing. No such luck. So I run out of options. So I call it in and say, hey, can somebody come do like a welfare check on this lady? I don't know what else to do. Cop comes out and he is pretty much in the same boat that I am. Wow, my heart really goes out to you. I wish you well. I want to help you out, but there's nothing I can do. So at my station, I make the rules as I go along. That's typically how it works. They give you a station. They say, this station is yours. Do with it, work it how you will. And when they say that, that don't mean just let people smoke crack or break the law. But, you can make concessions for certain people. You can overlook certain things every now and again. So I opted to let this woman stay at the station as long as she needed to. What was really nice, a little side note, cop pat me on the back, shook my hand. He's like, hey, you're a good man. I see you really trying to help her out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying. Don't know what else I can do though. So ultimately he leaves and we're just still in the same boat. But at this point we've ventured into the 10 o'clock hour. So now she's been out here for at least 5.5 hours. Look, I got on a nice size jacket and I'm cold, so I know she's got to be cold. So I ended up calling Asia, and we got in touch with my mother-in-law, who used to be an outreach coordinator or a navigator or whatever the official fancy term is. She knows how to help homeless people. So she's trying to do her best, and at this point, she hits a brick wall. She's like, "Hey, I really want to help. This is all I can do." And it's like maybe she can get down to this place or this place, but she's in her 60s. She's got a walker. The walker's missing a wheel. The other one's about to fall off at any moment. She's not gonna get very far. It sucks. So I give her the only options that I can possibly give her. One of two things is about to happen. One, you can call the hospital, tell them that your stomach hurts or your back hurts or your head hurts. Something hurts. And they'll keep you in the hospital and they'll run tests and at least you'll be warm tonight. Or the second option is for the last month, there's been an abandoned car in our parking lot. The back window's broken out, and I think driver's passenger side window has been broken out. So we've been trying to get it towed, but the car's not stolen. It's registered to somebody, so we can't just tow it. Nobody's reported it stolen, so it's just here. So I said, hey, I can't tell you that you can go over there, but if you do, I won't. I didn't see anything. So that's the option that she's gone with. I'm going to try to turn here. There's a guy behind me. Can you see him? This guy here. She's befriended this guy here, and he's out getting boxes to put in the back of this car window so that they can stay warm. So now she's, got this new friend she's hanging out with. Had nothing to do with me. She a grown woman. He a grown man. And at least for tonight, she'll be warm. Now, it speaks volumes about my wife's personal character. That's the word I'm looking for. Because even though we did everything we knew how to do, she felt guilty. She's like, I feel bad because I'm in my house and I'm complaining about being cold, and this woman is out sleeping in a car. And it's like, look, we did everything we know how to do. There's nothing else that I can think of to do for this woman. And now she's hooked up with this other guy who clearly is homeless and can't do anything for himself. What would you like me to do? So that takes me back to my original point of, when I punch out for work, I'm done. I will not be thinking about this woman. I will not let this woman haunt me. I will not feel guilty. I went above and beyond the call of duty to help this woman out. I really, truly did. Like any other guard at any other station would have said, hey, you've been here longer than 2 hours. Get the fuck off my station. I decided to let her stay here for the better part of my shift, because she just had nowhere else to go. From her stories, it sounds like somebody mistreated her, they misled her and did her wrong, and she had nowhere else to go. So I feel badly for her, I do, but this is the most that I can do. So she's got until tomorrow at 6 a.m. when the next guard shows up, and the next guard will not be as forgiving. According to him, here's just a woman sleeping in an abandoned car. He's not going to be interested in her story. He's not going to be interested in the circumstances that led her to this car. So she's going to have to go. But in the meantime, at least for the night, I can say she was warm and that I did my best to help her out. So, like I said, I don't want this job to define me. I define the job. And I can tell you this story and tell you that I'm defining the job because no other guard would have gone above and beyond. No other guard would have made phone calls and called around the different shelters or tried to get in touch with her worker. They would have realized there was an issue, called the police, and when the police couldn't do anything, do their best to kick her off the station. I didn't want to do that. So I've done everything I know how to do. I've done everything I can do. The rest is just kind of up to her.